Right, well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Cabinet meeting on the 8th of February. We'll start off by just clarifying that on agenda item number 10, which is Future Ways of Working for Invest SK Limited, there is a slight correction on that, which is we are going to move the report into public session where it should be, and the only exempt items on that report will be exempt Appendix 1 and exempt Appendix 2. So for that item as well, the directors currently of Invest SK Limited will leave, and I'll hand over the chairing skills to Councillor Linda Wharton for that agenda item. Therefore, we'll move on to the register of attendance, and apologies for absence, please, Graham.
Thank you, Leader. Today we've received apologies for absence from councillors Barry Dobson, Robert Reid, Rosemary Charlotte Bellew and Mark Whittington. All members of Cabinet, other than those apologies, are in attendance, and Councillor Jackie Smith is in attendance as an observer for today's meeting as well.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Therefore, moving on to the agenda item number 2, which is minutes of the previous meeting, which was held on the 13th of January 2022. There's just one minor amendment on page 7 in point 78, which is on the second line of that paragraph where it says relet standard, which it should read sought to efficiently instead of just saw. Do we have a proposer for those minutes, please? Thank you. Councillor Stokes proposed, and I'm happy to second. And we'll take a vote for all those in favour, please. Thank you. And any abstentions? Wonderful. Thank you very much. Therefore, moving on to disclosure of interest. So if anything does arise during the meeting that you feel you need to disclose, then please indicate to do so. Otherwise, the standing declarations of interest on your council documentation are already noted. Therefore, moving on to items for recommendation to full council. And we'll start with the budget proposals for 22-23, and I'll hand over to Councillor Stokes.
Thank you, Leader. So this is the final presentation to Cabinet of the budget proposals for the General Fund and the Housing Revenue Account for the forthcoming financial year 22-23. The report covers both the revenue and capital budgets, reserve movements and fees and charges proposals. The Cabinet is asked to make a number of recommendations as set out in the report, 1 to 18 on pages 11 and 12. Who are set out in the report to Council, who will consider the proposals on the 3rd of March 2022. Cabinet is also asked to recommend a council tax figure of £173.59 bandy equivalent for 22-23. A 2-week consultation has been completed with our businesses and residents in respect to the council tax levels. Over 260 responses have been received, with 28% supporting a council tax increase of £5. Whilst we are mindful of this feedback, it is important that we continue to consider taking the limited opportunities when they are available to increase our funding in order to ensure that we can continue to invest in our services and deliver the corporate plan ambitions. Of course, any resident finds themselves in need of financial assistance can apply for support from our local council tax support scheme, which was approved by Council last week. Cabinet colleagues have been working with CMT, the senior management team, since September to formulate the financial proposals, which has been challenging in the context of a 1-year settlement, which also places uncertainty on financial resources beyond the 12-month period. Table 1 of the report shows an unbalanced position beyond next year, which is due to 2 key factors: the expected changes to the government funding formula, and from 24-25, the borrowing impact following the decision to invest in the Deepings Leisure Centre. Table 2 shows the proposed changes to the budget that are necessary to continue to deliver quality services and the ambitions of the corporate plan, and Table 3 details the savings that are proposed to ensure the balanced position can be achieved. It should be noted that the budget proposals also include £500,000 saving in respect of staffing restructures across the council. This is expected to be implemented during the first quarter of the 22-23 financial year. The proposals for the funding levels for each of the council-owned companies are presented in the paragraphs 2.4 to 2.7 of the report, along with the objectives of each companies for the next year. Elsewhere on the agenda, there is a proposal with respect to the future ways of working for Invest SK Limited. Depending on the outcome of this decision, may require an amendment to be made to the budget proposals that are presented to Council. The proposals were considered by the Budget Joint Overview Scrutiny Committee on the 12th of January 2022. All proposals were supported without any amendment. Finally, the Council's Section 151 officer has confirmed in Section 8 that the budget proposals are robust and the reserves are considered to be adequate. and so Cabinet can be assured of this when recommending the final proposals. But I would also like to propose a budget amendment, and I'm going to table that now. So the Midlands Energy Hub have confirmed that SKDC have been allocated up to a maximum of 1.369500 to deliver a scheme of energy upgrades as part of the next phase of the National Sustainable Warmth Competition. These schemes support the installation of energy efficiency measures targeted at low-income, low-energy efficiency households up to March 23. The scheme is aimed at mixed tenure types, including owner-occupied and private rented sector, with only 10% of the total number of upgraded properties permitted to be social housing. This is a significant allocation, and it is recognised that may be risks to spend the full grant within the timescales given the current market pressures. However, if supported, we will work to make the best use of the opportunity of the grant funding available. Should this amendment be agreed, it is proposed that the Assistant Director for Housing would act as the lead senior officer with support across teams. So my two further recommendations to the ones set 1 to 18 set out in 11 and 12. So these are two further ones. So therefore I propose it is recommended to include the acceptance of the Sustainable Warmth Competition, Homes Upgrade Grant Phase 1, Local Authority Delivery Phase 3 grant within the budget proposals for 22-23, which will be presented to the Council on the 3rd of March 22, and to delegate authority to the Assistant Director for Housing and Consultation with the Cabinet Member for Waste Services to undertake procurement, award contracts, and to ensure compliance with the grant conditions. So, Leader, I'm proposing recommendations 1 to 18 on page 11 and 12 with the two further recommendations that I've just proposed. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that. And I'm very happy to second recommendations 1 to 18 with the two amendments there as well. And I think, comments from myself is that, I think residents and local authorities across the country are starting to feel the pinch this year. And I think it's been a difficult few years for all of us now. And I think we all know the challenges, particularly in local government. And this budget particularly reflects our commitment to meeting that funding challenge in a way that really does maximise every penny of our existing revenue and limits the burden on all of us also as taxpayers. And we are committed to protecting the quality of our services and fulfilling our ambitions for the future as outlined in our corporate plan, which requires not only ensuring value for money, but also about identifying opportunities to save. And this year requires a thorough balance of that prudent spending, streamlining, and reserve protection. And I must commend the work of the finance team that are here with us today for their extremely hard work in preparing this report, and with Councillor Stokes as well. So that has meant that we are still one of the lowest charging district councils in the country. And yes, we are increasing our precept by the equivalent of £5 on the Band D property. But this means we can protect our existing services and also aim to extend programmes that address vital issues across our district, about homelessness, about climate change, about mental health, but also about supporting our economic development for our district, which takes place not just through physical buildings, but also through the arts and culture and through our parks as well. So with the funds for the new annual community awards, the Grantham Carnival, this budget will also help our community reconnect after the last 2 years and celebrate their successes after a prolonged period of isolation. With the support that we've got in the Future High Streets Fund, with the £5.5 million there, the Heritage Action Zone funding of £1.2 million, Grantham is going to massively benefit from these regeneration projects that will not only boost the local economy, but also support new housing and upgrading the aesthetic infrastructure in the town. And that's also the same for the Welcome Back Fund, which is spending money in each of our market towns and communities in enhancing the offers and availability that we have in those areas. So it's very much a budget for all of the district. And namely as well, we need to look at our budget because funds are required to sort out and pursue the refurbishment of the Deepings Leisure Centre. And obviously plans will be made this year in the financial year to ensure a budget is in place to conduct that work as well. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing that work take place. And I know at present we've just hit over the 500 mark in terms of the consultation, but so far it's been very well received and we're getting some really good feedback through that consultation. So I'd like to thank the officers involved in that as well. So it is a challenging year for us in local government, and that's not just us here. And I'm certain that some of our neighbouring councils are having an even tougher time than us. But I'm very pleased about where we've got the budget to. It's still identifying the challenges we've got, but it's also working on the opportunities we've also got across our district. So I'm very happy to second this. we have any other comments in relation to this report? Well, in that case then, I know it's had quite an extensive discussion at the Budget Overview and Scrutiny Committee, and obviously we've got full council to go as well. So another round of questions and grilling for you, Adam. So I'll therefore move the recommendations to a vote then, please. So would all those indicate those in favour, please? And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Therefore, the next agenda item, which is agenda item number 5, which is the local plan issues and options consultation statement. I'll hand over to Councillor Robbins, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm delighted to present this report to you all today. Planning operates a plan-led approach to ensuring that we plan for the right development in the right location. The corporate plan has a vision to create the best district in which to live, work and visit, and the local plan review will play a key role in achieving those aims. The Council is committed to preparing an early review of the local plan with submission of the next draft plan to the Secretary of State by the end of 2023. The issues and options consultation is the first formal stage of the consultation of the scope of the local plan review, and it identifies the policies intended for the review. The issues and options consultation document was published for a 6-week consultation between the 12th of October 2020 and the 23rd of September 2020. The consultation asked a series of questions to help the Council determine the scope and content of the local plan review. As part of the consultation, the Council engaged with various bodies and stakeholders, inviting comments on what the plan should contain. To publicise the consultation, over 1,700 individuals and organisations were directly contacted. There were also local press releases, formal notices in local newspapers, and it was published on the Council's website. As a result of the consultation, over 1,600 responses were received from 124 respondents. The issues and options consultation statement summarises the representation received and provides an officer response to each comment. The representations received provided support to the proposals in the issues and options consultation document, and the consultation was successful in gathering interest and views to underpin the next steps of the review. This document paves the way for the work to progress the local plan review, and as a consequence, therefore, I'm asking that Cabinet approves the issues and options consultation statement so that it can be published on the Council's own website.
Okay, do I have a seconder for this, please? Councillor Stokes, thank you. I think you know, in terms of comments from me, I think local plans are certainly time consuming and labour intensive, as we all know, and I think we can all agree that they are incredibly useful for us as a council, as well as developers and communities close to development sites as well, because in areas that don't have local plans, they're at major risk of housing developments taking place in areas where, quite frankly, local residents don't want them. So I'm very proud of what the work that we've been undertaking here at South Coast Stephen. I'd like to thank all of the team and you, Councillor Robbins, on this. And I think we've developed a really informative design guide for developers. Our local plan is entrenching the need and the values that we value in high quality homes and housing across the district. So it's a really positive step forward again. Do we have any other comments in terms of the local plan? No? Then we'll move to a vote on that then, please. So all those in favour? That is unanimous. Thank you. Therefore, matters referred to Cabinet by the Council or Overview and Scrutiny Committees. So items for information, and we'll go to the Authority Monitoring Report, which I believe is with you again, Councillor Robbins.
Thank you again. And again, equally delighted to present this report to you today as well. So the Council is required to report its progress against the Council's local development scheme. The Authority Monitoring Report presented in front of you today analyses the performance for the period of 1st of April last year to the 31st of March, sorry, the 1st of April 2020 to the 31st of March last year. We are required to report how we're progressing with the local plan, the number of homes completed, the progress of neighbourhood plans and progress with the duty to cooperate. The Authority Monitoring Report also reports on the performance of the local plan policies against the local plan's monitoring framework. The monitoring framework is set out in Appendix 4 to the local plan. This Authority Monitoring Report is the first to be published since the adoption of the local plan in January 2020. It provides a baseline which can be built upon as the policies within the local plan take effect. This report also provides context to inform the local plan review. There are a number of headline results, including a confirmation that the council started its local plan review in April 2020, that 446 homes were completed in the monitoring period. Of the homes completed, 56 were affordable. 83% of all completions were within the 4 main towns. The council continues to work with neighbourhood planning groups and other areas developing neighbourhood plans. The council is continuing to fulfil the duty to cooperate with neighbouring authorities and other stakeholders. I'm therefore delighted to request that the Cabinet endorses this report and agree to it being published via the council's website, and agree that future reports be reported to the Planning Committee for information prior to publication. And again, I would like to thank the planning policy team for the comprehensive report yet again, and its contents within.
Oh, thank you very much. And I think I agree with you about, an annual AMR, as I also know they're known, is the best way for us to track the progress of our local plan and its performance, and undoubtedly assist us in considering planning applications. And for me, it's also a very open and transparent process about the details of housing across the district, which is of course a major source of interest to the wider community as well. And the 446 new homes across the district really is a remarkable achievement. And actually in terms of the report, there's some really interesting statistics I'm sure we've all picked up on, which is that we've got over 2,000 listed buildings in our districts. And I know quite often, I know Councillor Trollope-Bellew is listening in on this one, when we talk about our community and what it looks like, yes, we have 4 very distinctive market towns, but actually 35% of our residents live in rural communities, like myself and I think you as well, Councillor Robin. So it's really interesting report, and I'm pleased that we've got to this stage, and actually it is very open and transparent, so that the public and other interested parties actually have this information to hand. But Councillor Mason.
Thank you, Leader. Thank you, Councillor Robbins, for that report. I'd like to make a couple of suggestions, please, for amendments on the authority monitoring report. So on page 190, on the second paragraph, last sentence, it says there is significant scope for LPAs to determine what indicators to include. Can we put the full name in front of LPAs, please, just for clarity for people reading this? And on page 199.3.6, can we put SPD in brackets after the word in supplementary planning document? And page 203.3.21, community infrastructure levy, can we put CIL in brackets after this, please? Because it does go on to talk about CIL, and it just helps understanding for anybody reading this. And I've just got 2 brief questions, please. Can you explain the difference between adopted, area designated and examination on the neighbourhood plans, and what does no area designated mean? And can you give me a time frame of when the study will be completed on the accommodation needs of gypsies, travellers and travelling show people, and what the next steps would be, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mason, for your questions. The terms designation, examination, adoption and no designation just relate to the status of the neighbourhood plan. So the area designation, when a neighbourhood plan group wishes to commence work on a neighbourhood plan, they must first have the area designated. So what that means is they submit a map to the council. The council look at it, identifies the area to which the neighbourhood plan will apply. It then is approved. That they submit a statement explaining why the area is considered appropriate, and that is submitted with the plan. The council then decide whether to accept the area proposed, and then they make a neighbourhood area designation. Where areas are described as designated, it means that the plans have not formally progressed beyond the stage of examination. So it's just in the this is the area that we want to do. This is why we think it should be, and then so that's area designation. Examination and adoption, that they are the next steps. So before a plan can be adopted by the council, it must have an examination by an independent government inspector. If the inspector and local authority consider that the neighbourhood plan has met each basic condition set out in the Town and Country Planning Act, then the neighbourhood plan can proceed to referendum, which is a public vote. If it's successful at referendum, the council must decide, and it is only the council that do decide, if it wishes to adopt the plan. Once adopted, the neighbourhood plan forms part of the local authority's development plan and sits alongside the local plan. no area of designation is that no parish or village has come forward with a desire to do a neighbourhood plan. In relation to the time frame, we have consultants that are looking at the accommodation needs for Gypsy travellers and travelling show people, and they've committed to providing a full accommodation assessment report by September 2022.
Thank you, Councillor Robbins. I'm happy to second this, Leader.
Okay, if there's no further comments on this item, then on pages 183 to which is recommendations 1 and 2, all those in favour, please. And that is unanimous. Therefore, the next agenda item is the corporate peer challenge and the corporate peer review. Well, firstly, I'd like to start off by thanking the team that were involved in doing this for us, which include Stephen Baker, the Chief Executive of East Suffolk Council, Councillor Abby Brown, the leader of Stoke-on-Trent City Council, Kirsten Burnett, the head of policy at Hyndburn Borough Council, Paul Ellis from Craven District Council, Stephen Cooper from the LGA, and also Francis Marshall for the work that they put into this, and also for everybody that engaged in this process, from members, officers, and also the partners that we interviewed and discussed, particularly in the public and the private sectors across the district. I know there was an immense amount of work to get to this stage, and I'd like to thank them for it as well as a number of senior officers here at South Stephen District Council as well. And the report attached in Appendix 1 is mainly a largely positive report, highlighting a number of strengths for us as a council, particularly the response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which was seen as exemplary by a range of partners. And that's both externally to those people that really needed it in terms of the support with our residents, but also businesses across the district. And we could not have done that without the team jointly working together at Invest SK and within the finance team at the council, and getting out just over £52 million to over 3,000 businesses. It also comments on the strength of leadership, both on a political basis, which was highly very, very thankful for, but also since the appointment of our chief executive in March 2020, and about how we've identified those long-standing operational issues and how we are tackling them. And an immense amount of work has undergone into that. And of course, we thank our chief executive, Karen Bradford, and her senior management team for all the work that they continue to put into improving this organisation, taking it from strength to strength. But also it was recognised for the development of our corporate plan. And I think for many of us, it was the first corporate plan we've had for quite some time. We've had strategies, we've had initiatives and everything else, but we've now very clearly got a corporate plan which identifies the initiatives that we want to drive forwards as a council with all of our priorities. It also noted and celebrated the success of the organisation in terms of its culture and the progress that we've made to date in terms of our culture. And there is still a long way to go, but we are on the right track in that sense. But it also highlighted areas for focus and improvement across the council. And many of them is actually what we've discussed today. So the need to develop robust financial plans for future financial challenges and ensure that the robust financial management is in place. A focus on developing the effective member-officer relationships with a real clarity on the roles and responsibilities for both, and also to create that positive working culture as part of Team SK, which since I've been leader, I've advocately been promoting in terms of it's a joint effort, and we both will succeed together by working together. And the need also to be prepared to invest in Team SK at both that individual level, in both members and officers, in ensuring we are maximising the skills and abilities of our team in achieving the goals set out in the corporate plan. You know, we do have a significant number of challenges that we have dealt with, and many of it has been reported in this corporate peer challenge. But we also will have challenges ahead, just like the rest of the local government sector. But for me, we've been really open and transparent about the challenges that we've been undergoing, but also facing the future and facing the challenges ahead. And we've highlighted those in this report as been outlined by the LGA. It's been really clear in terms of where we are and where we need to go. And I hope all members have had the opportunity to really read it in depth in terms of how we can improve us as a council, so then we can improve our local area and really make South Kesteven one of the best places to live, work and visit. So I'm very happy to take some questions and comments for those members here today that would like to discuss. Happy to open the floor. Councillor Mason.
Thank you, Leader. So on page 232, page 4 of the feedback report, it states that SKDC can be proud in recognising and celebrating what it has achieved in the past 18 months and looking ahead to achieving its full potential. I really must say that the firm and solid leadership that has been shown is exemplary. I have absolutely no concerns about our future ambitions or achieving our fullest potential. The clarity of roles and responsibilities of members and officers is hugely important. We need to be clear that strategic decision making is our strengths and the operational aspects falls to our very competent officers. I really like the idea of respect pledge or strategy to promote respect and address poor behaviours. There's simply no excuse to disrespect an officer or a member of this council. We're a professional organisation and there are ways of dealing with issues in a respectful way. So I really welcome this. Enhancing communication and teamwork between members and officers are key. As you know, I head up the Mental Health Working Group, which is a group of members and officers, and it works really well. Everyone has a voice and being able to share ideas for the benefit of our communities is so powerful working together. So I'm in total support of the round tables within this report, each person taking some responsibility. COVID has changed the world as we know it. As an organisation, we have to rebuild our teams, rebuild as one organisation and change the culture, like you say, Leader, change the mindsets. There will be challenges, but it will instill a sense of pride from our staff. Investing on ourselves is hugely important. Every day is a school day. Let's challenge beliefs to find a better way of doing things, streamlining processes, making our procedures more timely. Instead of saying we've always done it this way, give projects to staff to review our procedures to find a better way. From small acorns, mighty oak trees grow. Historically, the engagement of communities has been very poor, but that's not the case now. We do need to spend time developing this more. As the council recognises the immense importance of strengthening the leadership and enabler role. The achievements we have made should be celebrated. We have made significant progress, and I'm proud to be part of a council that tackles it head on with clear leadership as we continue to look ahead. And I also want to say thank you to the LGA, the Peer Challenge team, and respective councils who have undertaken this review in a structured and positive way. And I'm happy to second this report and look forward to seeing the proposed action plan, Leader. Thank you.
No, thank you. I think you've made some really, really good points there. And the bit about culture and values is always an interesting one, because I think since we've come back from COVID, I think the challenge is now is that if people aren't physically coming into a building, how do you instill the culture and values of an organisation into people without them necessarily being present here? And for me, it's about having that real good balance in terms of, you know, we want to provide really good office accommodation for our staff so they feel valued. We want to give them the technology so that they're able to work remotely and in the office, but also in terms of creating that environment, which comes back down to the culture in terms of what we want the organisation to be for the future. And local government is undergoing massive change in where it is at the present time. And the bit you raised about the engagement with the community sector, you know, since the COVID pandemic, and it probably is one of the only positives I can see coming out of COVID, is actually the engagement and knowledge and understanding we have of the community sector now is as good as it has ever been. We've never had the direct communication levels that we've now got with all of these organisations in really understanding the needs and requirements for those most vulnerable in our society. And also, I know obviously one of the later reports on Invest SK, you know, we have a much closer working relationship with the businesses now. So we can actually plan for the future in terms of where the skills gaps are, where the gaps are in terms of where businesses want to grow and what demands they have for the future. So, and it's highlighted in this report as well. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to the fact that, you know, I think it's a commitment between us as members and as officers in terms of the peer challenge. It recognises a number of issues and accomplishments that we've done, but it's now about building that relationship with the peer challenge and the LGA to have those 6 monthly check-in meetings and also doing that facilitated sessions to make sure we're on track as to where we are and to keep this as a regular process. So it's not a case of, yes, great, we've had a peer challenge, it goes on the shelf and we never see it again. This needs to be an action plan that we continue to work on every month. Any further comments on this? Well, thank you very much for seconding, Councillor Mason. I would like to just, whilst I've got the chair, just to thank Ken Lyon for all the work that he has put into the corporate peer challenge, and also for all the work that you've put into South Kesteven District Council since you arrived with us. I know this is your last cabinet meeting, so I'd like to thank you for all the work you've done in supporting me and the rest of the cabinet team as well. And we wish you all the very best for the future, and I'm sure we'll still be seeing you from time to time in certain other meetings. So,
thank you very much, Leader. And as you know, I've very much enjoyed working here and working with members of this cabinet and others across the chamber in my time here. So thank you very much.
okay, so we'll therefore move to a vote then, please. So all those in favour? And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. So therefore, moving on to agenda item number 9, which is the Cabinet forward plan. It's quite opportune, Councillor Reid's not here, because I think most of it's all of his agenda items. But do we have any comments in terms of the forward plan, in terms of clarity or any comments? No? Oh, sorry, Mr. Watts.
Just wanted to highlight that the meeting scheduled for the 1st of March has been cancelled, so notification will go out today to cancel that meeting. There are 2 additional items to include on the forward plan for the 29th of March, which are the integrated housing management system and the empty home strategy. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you. So we are just noting that report. Therefore, the final agenda item, which is future ways of working for Invest SK Limited. Those that are directors of Invest SK Limited will be leaving the chamber at this point. It will remain in open session unless anybody wishes to discuss the exempt appendices. And for this agenda item, as the report is in the name of Councillor Linda Wotton, I shall hand over the chairing skills to Councillor Wotton, and I wish everybody a very good rest of the meeting.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. This report proposes insourcing the economic development and regeneration activities undertaken by Invest SK Limited. Having been to Companies Committee on the 25th of January, Cabinet's view is now being sought on the proposed direction of travel. The report details the establishment of Invest SK over 4 years ago, from a sizable company to the current staffing structure of 3 permanent and 3 fixed-term colleagues. As detailed at paragraph 1.3, the council's funding levels peaked at just over 1.3 million and are currently sat at 370,000, with over 84% allocated towards staffing costs. A link to the latest Invest SK annual report and financial statement is provided in the background papers section. Accounting for the impact of the pandemic, and since the introduction of the council's corporate plan in 2020, the business model has completely shifted. Members of Companies Committee have received several verbal updates on the successes achieved, particularly during the pandemic. A reminder is included in the report, paragraph 1.10. 3 months ago, the Invest SK board reviewed the current operating model to consider the best way forward for the company to be constituted, to contribute effectively to key growth and regeneration strategies and policies. The advantages and disadvantages of Invest SK as an arm's length company of the company are illustrated in table 2 at paragraph 1.16. The review concluded that the current operating model is unsustainable and failing to make the best use of the skill sets within the business. Table 3 at paragraph 1.19 identifies different models of operation. The 3 available options are detailed at paragraph 3.1, with the preferred option considered to provide the greatest opportunity to improve outcomes whilst delivering future efficiencies, being to insource, invest SK and 2p the staff to the council. The cost of transferring the staff to the council is detailed under the financial implications section of this report. It is proposed that the reserve is called upon to offset the cost. The two appended pink papers relating to the equalities impact assessment and staffing costs are exempt due to their confidential content. The report has 4 recommendations relating to dissolving the company, retaining the successful Invest SK brand, utilising of the reserve and developing a communication plan. Thank you. Councillor Mason.
Thank you, Councillor Orton. Invest SK has done a brilliant job of distributing the COVID grants to businesses, continually keeping in touch with all the firms in the district and strengthening the relationships with the businesses across the district. I'm in favour of bringing this in-house and dissolving the company. Retaining the brand is critical, so I'm pleased that that's down as the recommendation. Invest SK is widely respected, and it's crucial to ensure this continues. Positive communications is also really key with this move. I'm happy to second to bring this back in-house. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Mason. Do I have any more questions at all? Thank you. Therefore, I couldn't agree with you more, Councillor Mason. A lot of work has been done in the town and the group are well respected. And to retain the name is a really good thing. So if there's no more questions, we'll go to the vote then. Could I have your votes if you agree with the recommendations on the paper, please? Thank you. That's unanimous for us. Thank you. And on that note, I think it's been left in my very incapable hands to draw this meeting to a close. Thank you all. Safe journey home. And I think we need to recover our members.